pull yourself together.
She was like, pull yourself together. I was like, I'm crying. But we were all so emotional.
Emily, Dwayne, this is so
I love that you said Emily to him and then
looked at you. Emily, Dwayne, such a pleasure, guys. I loved this film. I thought it was wonderful, so moving and beautiful. And I have to say, the beating heart of it was the relationship between the both of you. What was the first point that you looked at each other on set and thought, this is really special?
I mean, honestly, day one, we knew we were a part of something rare. It just felt so authentic. You know, you do a lot of movies that you feel the technical aspects around you, and you learn to kind of blur those out. They become like white noise, but then you have an experience like this that was shot so authentically, with such spontaneity. Like, we barely saw a camera. It was very docu-style. And so it was a full transportation every day, and that just felt so fresh, I think, and exciting.
Not only did we rarely see cameras, but also this idea of fiction evaporated. Like, it became very, very real to us. So the scenes you're talking about with Emily and I and this relationship that we have. And I also want to say that it couldn't have happened. I think the impact that people are having watching Smash Machine, specifically the fights outside of the ring that we have as a couple, I don't think could have happened if we weren't, you know, as close as we are in terms of just knowing each other now for years. And
how did you decompress mentally?
Tequila. It was sponsored by tequila and long car rides where I feel like I would stare out of the window and then get home and stare at a wall. Those were all so helpful.
Yeah. We shared a makeup trailer. We rarely spoke there too as well. And not because we didn't want to, but just, again, like keeping it real. She was on one side, I was on another. Every night we'd wrap probably around 11, 12 o'clock at night, and we were just exhausted and just spent and going home and decompress, either having a drink or for me it was going outside at midnight, just sitting quietly under the stars and kind of exhaling. You needed that on this movie. Every scene required that, I think.
I love the fact that you've got kids the same age, who are, funnily enough, the same age as my two kids, 10 and 7.
The best
good ages.
The good ages.
Yeah.
But I wondered how your daughters reacted when they saw you with hair and looking so different, because,
Did they see you?
They did.
What did they think?
They didn't know it was me. They did not know it was me.
Creepy.
And it looked, it was
Creep
kind
them
of
out.
weird to them because they well, that is you, your eyes, but is that you? Because I had 22 prosthetics on, so kind of looked like me, but
Kind of unnerving, I think.
for sure. I think it's unnerving for people, period, to see it at first. They're like, wait, is that?
It did change the air in the room when you first walked in as him. It was really eerie. It was spooky.
You said that.
Yeah, it was weird.
because obviously you know Dwayne so well, to see him sort of magical realism version, like him but not him.
Yeah, it was like a kind of parallel version. But even the demeanor was different. Like, I feel like physically you could watch yourself transform, which must have just been so exciting to be looking down, and then every time you look up, you look more and more like him. But it was also just this energetic shift. And the voice was different, the movements were different. So it was that he was unrecognizable to everyone there. I mean, we did a scene where we go to that fairground and the extras were like, when's Dwayne Johnson getting here? And I was like, he's here, you know, it was amazing.
There's that tall dude that kind of looks like
Yeah,
him.
it's like not many people
standard.
have this physique, guys, you know?
I wanted to ask you about that. It's an amazing scene at the fairground where you're spinning round and round.
Yeah.
How many takes did that take, and were you very sick by the end of that?
So Benny had strategically scheduled that shot for the last one of the night. And then I realized why when I rode the Gravitron. I'm not great on rides. I think and I'm not great on doing anything scary. I realize that when I do films, I do things that I would never do in any other world. And he had because he's very joyful, he'll sort of kidnap you into thinking, oh, it's just so fun and you're gonna go upside down. I'm like, okay, you know. And then you do go upside down, and it was fine, And I was okay when I was done, a bit shaky. And then on the drive home, I was like, I'm gonna puke.
Emily, particularly your costumes, I was like, God, I wore a lot of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was very sort of Posh Spice inspired. I mean, Heidi, our amazing costume designer, would look up a lot of images of Victoria and, you know, that Cindy Crawford era. And it was that very overt way of dressing. And Dawn would dress that way, mainly to distract Mark, I think, mainly to pull him further towards her. But they both always took great care of how they dressed, how they looked. And so it was fun for us to kind of have that audacious way of dressing.
I loved the Sugar Ray as well. I was like, God, I haven't heard that song for ages.
Picked up on all the details.
I love it. Well, I love that song, and I was like, I haven't heard this for years.
Yeah.
Was there music that you listened to on set, both of you, that sort of got you into that space?
Very early. It's a great question. So Benny Safdie, he has this really unique relationship with music. What I mean by that is, early on, as we were prepping, he would send Emily and I playlists, the Smash Machine playlist from the 90s, and not necessarily the top 10 from the 90s, but these other songs, and then these covers of certain songs that were popular back then. So there was a lot of songs that we had listened to prior, and specific for me personally, there were a few songs that I had to listen to. Luckily, I had 4 hours in the makeup chair every morning, so I would just get lost in the music.
Just finally, guys, I mean, everyone saw your reaction at Venice. You got that fantastic 15-minute standing ovation. You were obviously very emotional. This is obviously such a personal project for both of you, particularly Dwayne. I know you were a producer on it as well. I mean, how gratifying is it to pour your heart and soul into a film like this and to see the kind of buzz that it's getting?
That was amazing. That was so surreal. And, we had made this film not thinking, really being unattached if it goes to a film festival or gets invited or in any kind of competition. We just made the film from our hearts, and we wanted to make something that people could explore and have great takeaways once they watch the movie. And so when we get to Venice and we're there in competition, and also, you never know. We got there on Saturday. We debuted on Monday, so we had 2 days of scrolling our phones, looking at these other movies, getting 5-minute ovations, 7, 8, 9. Do we have to clap for ourselves? What if nobody
Just
claps?
a slow clap.
Yes, try to get it going. But that crowd,
So British.
They didn't even
Deliberately
wait.
withheld. No.
but they didn't even wait, by the way. They didn't even wait till the credits rolled. They just erupted for 15 and a half
And then you
minutes.
erupted.
And then I erupted.
And I was like, pull yourself together.
She was like, pull
Yeah.
yourself together. I was like, I'm crying. But we were all so emotional because
beautiful.
of what it represented. And I think ultimately what it represented was, hey, we made a good movie, something special. But more importantly, I think, is Mark Kerr was with us, the man who I play, who the movie's about, and he was really emotional, crying. And I think it said to him, hey, you lived a life worth living now, even though you struggled with your own addictions, and he overdosed twice, and he's lucky to be here. And I think for him in that moment, it was his validation, and I'm so happy for him.
Amazing. Well, huge congratulations again, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Dwayne,
much.
Emily.
This is